What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Dream Star Grand Prix 2025 Daily Review Series. I am back talking day 9 of the tournament as Marigold head to Shinjuku FACE for a big-time 5-match show. And following the Korakuen on Saturday with tons of momentum, they carried that momentum into this show. I'm excited to talk about it. I'm excited to break it all down. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. Thank you, everyone, for continuing to support the show. It means the world to me. We're going to talk about a bunch of certain scenarios. We have eliminations done. We have so much to dive into as we are just 2 weeks away, less than 2 weeks away now, from the finals of this very tournament. And we are going to talk MVP. We're going to talk everything more. So if you just tuning into this series, thank you so much for doing so. I ask you, go check out the Dream Star review from day 8, which was the Korakuen Hall show, including my favorite tournament match of the entire season, Utami Hayashishita versus Mayu Iwatani, which was the main event of that show. Please go check that out. You can also check out the 5-star Joe show, went up last Friday. We talked a number of things, including Momo Watanabe winning the 5-star Grand Prix, Miyu Watanabe winning the Tokyo Princess Cup, Senjo the biggest, and so much more. But let's get to today's featured production. And that, of course, starts with day 9. That was 5 matches on the docket. We are not going to waste your time. We're going to get right into it. And there were a lot of matches I enjoyed here. And it started off strong. It started off strong with Chika versus Chanyota. I don't know what people expected going into this match. I don't know if I know what I really expected, but there was potential here between two wrestlers who I find to be very, very solid and some of the most improved wrestlers over the past year or two. You have Chika, you have Chanyota, and you have two powerful wrestlers who are going to utilize that power to tell their match, tell their story. They went as simple as I could have asked for. Let's run into each other as hard as humanly possible, and let's see what happens. Lariats, shoulder blocks, whatever you needed, that is what they brought to the table. I really liked this match. Like, this is going to be on the match worth the watch sheet because I thought it was that good. Just watching these two and what they bring to the table, it's two wrestlers who are finding themselves in the pro wrestling ring. It's two people who are finding themselves and what their style is and what they want to do and what they want to be. And I think it's always fun to see those types of wrestlers face off against one another. So let me get my notes out. Earlier in the match, they just started. It really just started from there. Just power versus power. And Chanyota never really let me rephrase. Chanyota is almost always the most powerful wrestler in the match, right? And Chika has been spending the past year working herself, getting ready for this type of matchup, and her power proved to be shown on the big scale. Chanyota went for the swing pretty early. You saw Chanyota power herself up and headbutt Chanyota to even that. It led to a nice power struggle between the two where they were lifting and lifting and lifting to see who would get the power slam. Ultimately, it would end up being Chika that would get it. And then she would result in getting the big swing on Chanyota. So that was kind of one of the big parts of this match. Chanyota would, though, get to her feet, and they started trading some big time lariats. Back and forth they go, back and forth. And I'm just sitting there just like, okay, this is what it's all about. This is why we love tournament matches like these, right? This isn't going to be your match of the night. This isn't going to be your runaway match, but it's going to be quality. It's going to be entertaining. It's going to be fun. And that's what this was. Chanyota hit Chika with a massive lariat to take her down, but Chika got back to her feet and did the same. However, it was soon after that she would put her in a sleeper hold, but Chanyota and the power that she has with power out hit a torture rack, which would result in a slam, then follow that up with a running lariat on the ground for a nice little near fall. Chanyota would get back, Chika would get back to her feet and attempt to hit the choke slam, but she would get hit with another lariat for another big time spot here in the match. Chika would follow that with the GCS for a great near fall, which would be followed by a boot, and then a rolling lariat by Chanyota for a near fall. Chanyota would lock in and go for the charged up lariat, bouncing off the ropes. The crowd getting super into it before crashing through Chanyota, but Chanyota would manage to kick out. Chanyota would then catch Chika would then catch Chanyota. Those names are very hard to continuously say back and forth in the same match. Chika would then catch Chanyota with a hammerlock GCS Chika choke slam to get the victory, a big time victory for Chika. Felt like one of her strongest performances in the tournament. And again, it shows the comfort levels that she's found over the past number of weeks. Between this match and the Mayu match, big time leaps being made by Chika as she tries to figure out herself as a singles competitor. Really strong start to the tournament matches on this show, but that rolled into Seri Yamaoka versus Maria. Of course, this match was supposed to be Seri Yamaoka versus Senka Katsuki. I know many people, myself included, are bummed that that did not get to happen, but they played to that in this match. I think what I liked about this match is that we kind of played to Senka being the middle ground between these two, both of them going for shoot pins. Maria showing a picture of Senka, to try to anger, to try to piss off Seri Yamaoka, which was a good spot there. But ultimately, this was a lot of Seri Yamaoka and kind of how we've watched her tournament. She's been someone very vocal on social media about how she's trying to find what her pro wrestling is. And she's still looking because a lot of her matches, she takes a lot of punishment, but she's able to find a finish, find a victory in the end. And I think this tournament has been about a unique experience for her because for most of this tournament, she's been one of the top 3 wrestlers, I think, performance wise, which is impressive for someone of her experience level. But as we get into these later matches, against the non-main event caliber, I should say, or non-main event level wrestlers, I think you're seeing more of Seri trying to figure herself out. Maria is healing it up a lot here throughout this match, working Seri's arm, getting the arm bar, the usual stuff that she does in every match. Then they trade some forearms before Seri hits her big time drop kick, which is always a pop out of me. But Maria comes back with the octopus, which Seri is able to get out of, follow that up with a spine buster, then attempt those shoot pins, very Senka like, for some near falls. I would have loved if the match ended with that. I think that would have been a great touch, especially with Senka missing this. But we're building to that match still, which is great. Maria would hit a big time drop kick for a near fall. That would be followed up by a spear by Yamaoka, a gut wrench, and then the Aoki clutch to get the victory. Out of all the tournament matches on the night, I did think this was the weakest, but I still enjoyed it. That's the thing with Seri Yamaoka. I enjoy seeing the levels that she's finding herself against different opponents and where that takes her. It wasn't a bad match by any sense of the imagination. It just wasn't to the levels of everything else I thought on this show. But still, a strong performance out of Yamaoka. And Maria, listen, she's just kind of here, right? She shows the attitude of I don't care, and sometimes she does, sometimes she doesn't, which is fine. It is what it is. She is a fill-in after all. But her, Seri Yamaoka and Senka will get there someday. If that match was this match, right? If Senka was here and that happened, this would have probably been the best show of the tournament. Like, I think if you put that in instead, it would have been the show of the tournament. But let's get to a match that I think was a real nice surprise. That was Miku versus Kizuna Tanaka. Kizuna Tanaka and the Big Kiz fans, come on down because Big Kiz is showing up, folks. Big Kiz is having back-to-back her best performances in the tournament so far, and I thought this was her best match. And I said this on the last review of the Dream Star Daily Series. The return of Miku into this tournament was a breath of fresh air because Miku is the story. Miku is the one to follow in this tournament, right? She starts off 0-1-1, back against the wall because she doesn't have a match for essentially a month. And now she's got to go on that run. And we are seeing in real time what a wrestler who believes she can win, knows she can win, and is getting desperate to get there, what she can do. And she is having such fantastic performances. She's not out of the MVP conversation by any stretch. I want to say that as well. It's just we have some other wrestlers that are going absolutely nutty throughout this tournament. But this match started off hot. Kizuna went for the big time small package. Another few flash pins to try and steal this win from Miku Aono instantly, but that would not be the case. She would then continue hitting a nice missile drop kick from the top, but Miku Aono would come back kicking poor Kizuna. Once Kizuna lost the offensive charge that she started off with, it became a control session for Miku. She hit her corner drop kick, then followed up with 3 nasty kicks to the back. And every time Miku does this to Kizuna, I see the pain, I feel the pain, I understand the pain, because you can see the fear and the okay, let's just get this over with. She closes her eyes, she braces for impact, but she kept going, she kept fighting, and it seemed to fire her up. Kizuna hit her with a head kick, then a penalty kick on the apron, which was a nice little spot. She then do a hit Miku Aono with a fisherman suplex on the floor after trading back and forth there. She'd roll into the ring, hit her with a top rope drop kick, hit her with another fisherman and a running knee. But it was from there that Miku Aono would turn the tables on the young Marigold member, on the Celine Floor member, and get in a cloverleaf, working towards that back. We know Kizuna's history with the back issues, and that was just smart wrestling by Miku Aono. She would then absolutely clobber Kizuna Tanaka with a big time lariat on the ropes. But Kizuna Tanaka showed that fight, showed that belief, was able to reverse a head kick and hit the redream, but she was then clipped by a lariat after that. Another head kick, followed by a clutch slam, followed by an Olympic slam, and a buzzsaw kick would put an end to the young Kizuna Tanaka here in this match. But for what it was, a incredible, awesome performance out of Kizuna Tanaka, who is just growing as the tournament goes. That's what you want to see out of someone like Kizuna Tanaka. Listen, not everyone is going to be Victoria Yuzuki. Plain and simple. I got to specify that because I'm about to hype up Victoria Yuzuki right now. But Kizuna Tanaka is a good wrestler. And we've seen her have some incredible performances this year, especially in the Marvelous stuff. Between her last appearance on between her last match on the Korakuen and now this one, you are watching her string together strong performances. That's all you can ask for out of Kizuna Tanaka, and that is going to do a lot of good for her when she leaves this tournament. On the other hand, with Miku Aono, we are just watching the expectation. We are watching someone who dominated the first year, defeated Nanae Takahashi in Nanai's retirement match, now turn the corner and show I am the best. I am the best, and this tournament is mine. That's what we're watching. Now, she's still a ways away. She's still sitting at 5 points, which is 3 behind Mai Sakurai. So she can afford one loss, but that's it. And it comes down, and it feels like it's going to come down to her versus Mai on the final night. We'll see how that all goes. But like I said, this match was really, really strong, really, really enjoyable, and we'll see how it all goes when we get there. But let us talk the match of the night, shall we? Victoria Yuzuki versus Rea Seto. Listen, reality is this match might have never happened in this tournament, right? Rea Seto was initially a play-in, right? Her and Sanka Katsu were play-ins. Only one play-in was originally available, but then, of course, Natsumi Shozuki's injury took her out of the Dream Star. That allowed an extra spot, whether that be Rea Seto's spot or Sanka's spot. I don't really need to debate it. But what does matter is that Rea Seto had the opportunity here. And this match, this rivalry that we have seen become an exciting rivalry throughout this year with the Superfly title on the line, with the turn of Rea Seto to join Darkness Revolution. All eyes were on this match and the potential of what this match could mean for these two competitors. I sing the praises of Victoria Yuzuki all the time because guess what? She deserves that praise all the time. That's how incredible of a wrestler she truly is. And this match was a showcase of just that. But not just that. It was also a showcase of why Rea Seto was the one to make it into this tournament. An incredible career best performance out of someone like Rea Seto, who has had multiple career best performances as this year has gone on. That's what you want to see in someone's development. That's what you want to see in a rivalry match. These two are creating a rivalry that's going to stand the test of time in Marigold, right? It is the present, it is the future, and these two are amongst the future of this promotion. That's why seeing a match this good, this early in a tournament is so freaking exciting. These two started off nasty. They started off hot and it never ended. Like these two wanted to destroy one another. The destruction of Yuzuki's knees in this match by Rea Seto was gnarly at times. Absolutely nasty at times, but it was so well done, so creative, so many different moves, right? Not just submissions, not just dragon screws, continuous moves, continuous ways to work the leg, and continuous ways to tell this story between the two. I think when it comes to Victoria Yuzuki, it's hard to imagine how good she already is, right? We are coming up on 2 years, her second anniversary, and she is, as far as I'm concerned, the MVP of this tournament right now. That's how great she's been. She's getting the best out of everyone, whether it be Kouki Amarei, whether it be Rea Seto, whether it be Tom. Like, she is getting the best out of everyone, and she's still got the Mayu match left. As far as I'm concerned, she's got MVP locked up. That is what this match told me. This match was awesome. I can't stress that enough. But let's talk more about it. The crowd was hot for this match. These two got the crowd so locked into this match, throwing each other into the chairs, a personal feel throughout this one, a nasty, I want to destroy you feel throughout this one. Dragged back and forth, Yuzuki hits a big time crossbody onto Rea Seto from the like, it's like a desk, not a desk, but you know, if you look at Shinjuku FACE, it's the I guess it's kind of like a table thing. Whatever. She leaps off of that, takes out Rea Seto. The cheers go crazy for Yuzuki. But Rea Seto comes back. Then she hits a big drop kick from the apron onto Yuzuki, and big cheers for Rea Seto hit. That was awesome. Just seeing the cheers for both of them, that had to mean so much, you know? And then she really started to work the leg, drop kick to the leg, knee to the leg. She dropped her for a leg breaker, just absolutely destroying her. But then there's this point in the match that I absolutely loved because it obviously was an accident, but it worked so well to the story they were telling, to the match they were telling. By the way, I think this is my second favorite match of the tournament. Like, I love this match. These two killed it. These two stole the show on a show that it was gonna, you know, take great performances. When this show was announced, right, when Sanka was in the tournament, everyone circled those two, Seri and Sanka, as the big matchup. Give respect to this one because boy, oh boy, they crushed it. Yuzuki gets thrown off the top rope by Rea Seto, but Yuzuki followed up with a crazy rolling forearm that absolutely crushed Rea Seto. It was awesome. Forearm trade that landed in Yuzuki reversing it into a crossface, a great submission, a great struggle. She then Yuzuki kind of, you know, turns into like a Rings of Satin type, which was a real struggle for Seto to get out of, but she did. Rhea went for her flash pin attempt where she grabs the arms and goes back 3 different times, with the third time heading the great near fall. Yuzuki would follow that up with her Seri-style dropkick into the bottom rope. She'd then get a crossface and roll through, getting the rings once again, but another rope break. And this is when I was like, oh my God, where are we going with this match? You know what? It doesn't matter. This match is fantastic. I just wanted to keep going. And boy, oh boy, did it. Back to the legs. Rea dropped Yuzuki in such a nasty way on her knees. I was like, is she okay? I literally wrote, ouch. And that's when she turned into her nasty leg submission where Rhea puts her foot between the back of Izuki's knee and just rips at it and rips at it. And this was a great spot. She would survive that. She'd then go for the deadbolt belly to belly suplex, which was reversed into a backdrop. Then she'd hit a big time drop kick. And then she would hit the deadbolt for a great near fall. And that is when the match came to an end. A 15-minute time limit draw between Victoria Yuzuki and Rea Seto. This is the most important win for Rea Seto, and it wasn't even a win. She showed to Victoria Yuzuki, I am your rival. Listen, my points may not be great. Listen, I have 3 points total, okay? But I am your Achilles heel. I am your rival, and we are not done here. Lasting that 15 minutes and being the one on the offensive when that time runs out is a hell of a way to tell this story. It's a hell of a way to continue where we're going with this feud. I freaking love this match. I think it's my second favorite match of the tournament. Like, that was great. I don't want to call it a surprise because I did have this circled as a match to watch for because of what they've done and what they can do and the rivalry they've created. But I think it even exceeded my expectations. These two are fantastic. Victoria Yuzuki deserves all the praise that she always gets, and rightfully so. But Rea Seto deserves all the praise as well because Rea Seto stepped up, stepped in, and they said, we're stealing the show here tonight. And that's exactly what they did. Shouts out to both of them. Young Marigold on full display, continuing to be the best part of this promotion. And then we had your main event, Mayu Iwatani versus Kouki Amarei for the first time ever. And I'm going to keep this simple. Mayu Iwatani destroyed Kouki Amarei. And it was awesome. Like, it was awesome. I had a great time watching Mayu pretty much tell Kouki, you are not in my league. You may have been GHC Women's Champion. You may have done this. You may have done that. But you are not in my league. I am the icon. I am the greatest of all time, and you are not here. You have to find yourself. You have to go out there and put something together to prove you belong in the ring with me. That's what this match was. And it's very different, but it can be a turning point for Kouki. When you are someone who is in contention, right? She is in contention within this tournament heading into this match. She's now eliminated, but heading into this match, she was in contention. She actually had more points than Mayu Iwatani at the time. She was at 6, Mayu was at 5. She was in contention. She had a big win over Yuzuki. Big win over did she beat Seri Yamaoka? Yeah, big win over Seri Yamaoka. Taking both of them out, proving that she can take down the youth. And then Mayu humbled her. Mayu said enough is enough. So much of the early get-go was Mayu pretty much playing with her food, as I like to say, right? She was like, oh, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You can't hit me. And it was class. It was class. It was entertaining. I absolutely loved it. I absolutely loved every second of it. Like, this is a match I'm going to tell you to go out of your way to watch, but as a, super duper Mayu fan that I am, I just love seeing this side of her. Just absolutely pushing Kouki. It was a sense of, come on, show me what you got. Bring more out of yourself. Bring it, show it, and do it. And for most of this match, Kouki didn't have an answer. Mayu put her in a one-leg crab. She teased her, then slapped her across the face. Kouki did get a big cross body, followed by a boot to the face and a back suplex. So she did get a little offensive there, but Mayu come back at a missile drop kick, followed by a foot stomp, and just had a big smile on her face. Kouki would then get a cutter and put on a submission for a little bit, but that's when Mayu said, all right, I've had enough. I gave you a little. I'm done. She hit her with a nasty dragon screw on her formerly injured leg. Hit the bottom rope, drop kick, hit the suicide dive to the outside, and a frog splash for the near fall. Kouki would get one last gasp, going for the jackknife pin, which was a good near fall, but that was nothing. And in the end, Mayu hit a super kick, followed by a German, followed by a head kick, and the moonsault to get the win. Like I said, this match isn't going to be one to go out of your way and rush to see, but as someone who loves Mayu in this role, a role that I haven't seen her in a while, boy, oh boy, this was awesome. She decimated Kouki Amarei, and it was freaking great. And a staple of I'm Mayu Iwatani. This tournament can be and should be mine, and you are all going to see that very, very soon here. So Kouki Amarei officially eliminated with the loss. Mayu stays in contention. Mayu has one more match before the final against Victoria Yuzuki. We're going to break it all down right here, right now, for all of you. Let's dive into all the stats. Shout out to my good friend Peps for keeping this up to date. Here's everything you need to know. Here's everything you need to know heading into the weekend. We have 2 days of matches, just four tournament matches or 5 total. Let me double check. Let me check the schedule. So on the 6th, we have 3 matches. It'll be Mayu Iwatani versus Chiaki, Miku versus Nagisa Nozaki, and Amarei versus Misa Matsui. We'll then have Miku versus Chika Goto, and Amarei versus Kizuna Tanaka. So lots of good matches there from the Star League. So the Dream League is as follows. 3 people remain. Utami Hayashishita, Victoria Yuzuki, both at 9 points apiece. Yuzuki technically has the edge. If the tournament ended right now, she would be in the final. Then you have Mayu Iwatani sitting at 7 points and staying above. She will face Chiaki, and then that will probably bring her to 9, and that keeps everyone in the conversation. On the final night, Victoria Yuzuki will face Mayu one-on-one, while Utami Hayashishita faces Kouki Amarei. In the Star League, it is way more wide open. The conversation is there. Like I said, Amarei will face Misa Matsui, so a win there would be major for Amarei. Obviously, Amarei is in a must-win scenario as well heading into the final night, which I think makes a great story for her. She's got 2 matches. If she wins both of them, she could be right at 7. In terms of Miku Aono, has the match against Nozaki and Chika. So essentially, those matches could eliminate both of those 2. There's some eliminations coming this weekend, big time eliminations coming this weekend. Boy, oh boy, is that exciting. And if you're wondering for match times, Victoria Yuzuki leads the way. Of course, she has wrestled 6 of her 7 matches, but she sits at the top at 11 minutes and 38 seconds, while Seri Yamaoka is right behind her with 11 minutes and 17. Amarei actually has the most, though, at 12:10 in terms of average. Miku sitting at 10:59. So that is all here from that side of things. Now let's take a look at the matches worth the watch. Continuously updating this, continuously keeping you up to date on matches I highly recommend from this. And we have a bunch of matches here in addition to what we've been doing. Of course, match of the tournament, Tommy and Mayu standing at the top. But we had 2 new additions from this show today, including Chanyota versus Chika, which I really, really enjoyed, and Victoria Yuzuki versus Rea Seto, which if I was to list these, which I will at the end of this tournament, this would be my number 2 match of the tournament. Absolutely adored that one. But hey, this tournament's been awesome. I'm really enjoying it. They're picking up steam big time. It's the time to lock in. It's the time to enjoy it. Let's take a quick look now at the MVP race for the update sense in terms of my ratings, and we will get out of here. So as you can see, Victoria Yuzuki stands at the top at a 3.50, while Utami Hayashishita sits at a 3.42. Mayu Iwatani at a 3.40. Miku Aono at 3.38. So those are all in contention. Miku's got a couple more matches left. She can definitely catch up to Victoria Yuzuki ahead of that. But we are still going strong here. Those are all the ratings. That's everything you need to see from me. I thank you all for listening once again to the Dream Star Daily Reviews. We'll be back this weekend. I'm going to say, or we're going to be back next week with the reviews because I'm guessing that those are video on demand, so it might be another combined review. We will see. maybe we can get day 3 out since it's a 3-matcher. We'll see. Nonetheless, keep an eye out. Hopefully we'll have 2 more days of recordings plus the finals next Sunday, the 14th. Thank you everyone for listening. Thank you everyone for your support. Like I said, please check out the whole series of Dream Stars reviews. The tournament's picking up right now. It's at an exciting point. And please, please, please go out of your way to check out Victoria Yuzuki versus Rea Seto. I'll be back on Friday with the 5-star Joshi show. We're going to be breaking down everything in the world of Joshi. We're going to be talking Mio Momono versus Yurika Oka. We're going to be talking more Marigold, preview the upcoming weekend. We're going to be talking Stardom to the World, previewing that show, and so much more. So until then, or until the next Dream Star review, I thank you all for listening, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye, everyone.